When browsing through the included booklet for Mask of Light, it's a look back on the releases in the year of 2003. Digital, paperback, plastic, adverts for Legoland, and additional products. Saving the best for last, a sneak peek of the year to come. A taste of 2004 on the horizon. Our new Toa of Fire and confirmation for the second Bionicle movie. A retroactive era new to the fanbase. An origin story of urban magnitude. I'm here to commemorate, to reflect on my favorite setting within Bionicle. You are hereby initiated into Rated Exploited. I prioritized renting the DVD and received a personal copy for Christmas. I've always loved the exterior box, displaying the details of Metru Nui, according to geography and Toa element. I've retained the insert with product details from 2004, prominently displaying the larger sets, attire, and the Metru Nui City of Legends guide, and a sneak peek at Web of Shadows. I don't recall ever seeing these Kanoka frames replicated elsewhere. I also forgot about this Kanoka code, exclusively displayed within the booklet. Metru Nui remains my #1 setting within Bionicle. The original idea of Protodermis as the main resource, and integrated throughout the Metru. Co-Metru focuses on astronomy. Ta Metru is foraging and crafting. Academics for God Metru. Limetru, transportation, including the chutes themselves. Archiving and history, designated in Onu Metru. Finally Po Metru, devoted to construct and carving. The film maintains a close-knit cast between hero and villain. While the Toa are the stars and the villains just being themselves, there are a few interactions outside of the main cast. The Vaki serve their role as foot soldiers. I especially love Kikanalo. They are not only an integral part, but highly intelligent Rahi and genuine support characters. They even initiate the activation of Nokama's Great Rao. While Mask of Light had a very limited amount of humor, as does the majority of Bionicle, Kreka, and especially Matau, incorporate humor within the runtime. A jester he is, but a loyal brethren, backing up his reliable role. I also chose him as my Toa of Air for my fantasy Toa Team. That link is directly below. Nokama is the impossible-to-hate character. Although she knew little of Vakama, she proved an empathetic figure. She earns her place on the box art. Wenua takes action when digging to the surface to locate the Matoran capsules. Nuju enacts through the Metru Nui Explorer, analyzing the inhabitants and rolls from his observatory, overlooking the distinction between the regions. Anoa, while resistive and showing intolerance, proves an invaluable brethren, displaying his might by destroying Makuda's Protodermis pillar, and psychokinetically forcing Kreka onto Nidiki. A prominent aspect I herald as a defining moment for Legends of Metru Nui, the score, by none other than Nathan First. We open with the theme of Mask of Light. Plus, this orchestral style is a contrast to the urban industrial setting of Metru Nui. My favorite is Toa Lacan's theme. It's the track I associate with the film, prominently utilized for involving the Toa, encapsulating the movie revolving around him, passing the torch to the Toa Metru, used within the menu, escaping with the Toa Stones, sighting the Spirit Star overhead, his revelation as a Turaga, and ultimately, his sacrifice for Vakama. The new Toa Metru also have their own theme, implemented when they receive the power from Likan, jumping on the transport of Matoran capsules. Upon Nokama discovering her Kanohi's power involving the Kikanalo, and once Vakama realizes time is the force desired by Makuda, we hear this familiar tune again. Even in the finale, when the Great Spirit proclaims they are Toa, this theme prominently plays to accompany. In regards to analyzing the visuals of the film, a perfect design choice and alteration from the figures is the contrasting armor of the Toa Metru. While the action figures are solid, each film model has a personalized contrasting color. I also went over this in my best Bionicle Trilogy transitions, looking at the best changes between toy and the eventual film. That link is also below. Despite the film only being 1 hour and 15 minutes, it solidifies the urban setting of Metru Nui. It's reminiscent and extremely consistent with the official designs displayed through the website and LEGO magazines. It's a big improvement over Mask of Light. My favorite is the attention to the protodermis shoots, reclaiming the memory they are protodermis held together by magnetism, and will potentially explode, as detailed by Kongu. As a graphic designer, I found another improvement over Mask of Light. The scenes of Kokoro feature what is expected in an Arctic environment, but in Metru, the Toa are featured with breath in the cold. Before this point, I had never thought of them as homeothermic. Legends of Metru Nui prominently features the biggest color palette. This is a decision by the directors, taking initiative by achieving a larger scale than Mask of Light. Let's take in and observe the liminal aspect of Metru Nui, on display when venturing through Metru, but the sense of liminality is also achieved within the DVD menu. The abandoning sense reigns throughout. The Toa observe and question the Matoran disappearance, but I've always had this sense of dread watching the movie. I know Makuta is behind the entirety, but the hopeless isolation feels like an evil the Toa cannot rival. Matoran are stolen away, an eerie silence transitioning from the once lively sectors. The animated atmosphere has always felt like a foreign memory. I know what I'm looking at is from the past. With no life amongst these urban clips and shots, I develop a sense of loss, a remnant of a life once cherished. In this example, the emptied isolation empowers the sense of the unknown. When the Vizirax spread their webs across the city, the reveal builds up from the moment the Toa are paralyzed. But when I flip through the guide of Metru Nui, take the individual renders throughout the 6 regions, I get a sense of a corroding world beyond maintenance. As Makuta sought the force of time, the future proves beyond control and acceptance. I feel the dynamic of time alters faster than acceptance. The acceptance of having no control, leading into grief. Here, I truly get the sense of the Toa abandoning the one home they knew. Lacan's theme also reflects loss to the point it embodies a memento, passing his legacy in a melodic eulogy. The doubts and fears of Vakama empower the dynamic of his progression, feeling the guilt and the mistaken identity as Lacan dubbed him Toa of Fire. He truly is an underdog who no one could foresee, but Metru Nui knew. Feeling alone and unworthy, it's his fellow Toa who bring his capability into reality. A striking moment is enacted in the final scene against Makuta, questioning in disbelief that Vakama defeated him alone. Enter the team, declared by Nakama that he is not alone. My childhood interpretation is that Vakama took on Makuta himself. Here, my analytical side proves a new, incubated outlook. Have you ever played Majora's Mask? Perhaps you haven't yet caught on to the observational comparison between this game and movie. Think about playing through the Southern Swamp, encapsulating in the resurgence of the Woodfall Temple, rescuing my cow before laying him to rest, performing reconnaissance within the Gerudo hideout for saving the eggs from the giant sea snakes, culminating in the sea turtle access to the Great Bay Temple. Now, converge the comparison. Look at the journey of protagonist to antagonist, appointed by the impersonator, unknowingly serving the side of evil. Beginning in Metru, Vakama began as a fearful Matoran, but Toa Lacan sets the spark within him. The pressure of being the lead kindles upon transformation. The Toa individually learn their mass powers. Turaga Lacan extends his guidance, each honing their skills in the fight of the enemy they have yet to encounter. The journey to temple and power is where the significance lies. Vakama is the cross-wired freak none would accept or expect to be a Toa. By the power of influence and team, his role solidifies. He began as a doubtful mask maker, concluding into a powerful lead. I could not interpret this 20 years ago. Only by grateful appreciation do I reach this analysis. This is an example of where the journey and conclusion equate in equal magnitude. Why? To prepare and empower the discipline required when confronting Makuta. 2 years before my granted wish, Jala becomes the recipient of Toa Lakan's Hau. Matoran into Toa, Toa into Turaga, Turaga into Legend. Here, Vakama is the transitional mediator, the key between past triumph and future legend. 2004 is a cherished memory, one I fondly recall, coinciding with the Turaga looking back on their city, reflecting on the 7 legends I associate with my childhood. Metru Nui is the retroactive memory from 20 years ago. I cherish the scale, the extensive lore, and the pleasant cast making up the mechanical world. Ironically, looking back on the barren land with fondness, in the time before time, the Matoran suspended animation can interpret as a peaceful apocalypse. Don't know if protodermis can corrode metal. What would Metru Nui come under if Rahi and nature reclaimed it? This is a theory I would like to enact on the bicentennial anniversary for Web of Shadows. Thank you, Technic fanatics, for joining this bicentennial celebration for Legends of Metru Nui. I have an abundance of Bionicle videos right here on the channel. Like for the 20th year. Subscribe for tomorrow. Thank you for joining this rated exploited endeavor.
This is the way of the Bionicle.